back in the golden age of the NBA, tough guys and blood feuds were there, and one spectacular basketball player stood out as one of the most formidable and the most loyal. Ice Cube once compared his presence on the court to an oak tree in the middle of a raging flood. Well, the legendary Charles Oakley is now telling how it all went down in his new book called The Last Enforcer, outrageous stories from the life and times of one of the NBA's fiercest competitors. It was written with journalist Frank Isola, and this incredible autobiography is unapologetic and honest about Mr. Oakley's journey through basketball and his interactions with other monumental figures, from Michael Jordan to Charles Barkley to even Donald Trump. And joining us now to tell us all about it and much more is the legendary former NBA player and the author of The Last Enforcer, Mr., and I'm going to call him Mr. Charles Oakley. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The book, I love the book, and it starts off, the first chapter is titled Knocking Out a Jackass. And there's levels to this chapter, right? Because you talk about, of course, you talk about, you know, your family and actually literally fighting a mule, right, down in Alabama. But you also talk about hitting a certain NBA announcer, you know, who used to be a power forward in the NBA. 1999, I believe it was, you allegedly slapped Charles Barkley at a players meeting.
Yeah, we had a lockout, and he was talking a lot of trash. And you know, my thing is, as long as I'm in a uniform, I'm on NBA. I go hard for it. And at that time, I was playing with the Knicks, and he said something fly, and I told him, next time I see him, I'm gonna walk up to him and do like it somebody should have did a long time ago. I'm gonna smack him.
You know, because Charles Barkley is the dude that didn't back down to Shaq. Charles Barkley is the dude that got in the fights with Bill Laimbeer. He's the dude that would go at it with the bad boys. So, and I'm a Philadelphian, so, you know, for me, it's hard to wrap my mind around that. When you slap Charles Barkley, I got to ask you, what did he do?
Nothing. I would have had a seat and wait for the meeting to start.
Wait a minute. So you slapped Charles Barkley. I just got to Nah.
I mean, what could he do? I mean, he know he was wrong. He didn't want that smoke.
Did y'all talk afterward?
No. I mean, I hadn't seen him since then, but nothing for us like, you know, why did I do it? No. He said on TNT why I got a grudge with him. I don't have a grudge with him. He just said something, and at the time it was the wrong time to say it, and you know, I had to let him know. And you ain't gonna just be talking around here and coming around here in New York when I'm here like that. So.
Wow, man. So I gotta tell you, Charles, I came up thinking you were a bully, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I know you say you're not a bully. You people started, you finished it. But I gotta tell you something, man. Right. My Philadelphia 76ers were in the NBA Finals in 2001. And before we got to the finals against the Lakers, we had to play, in the second round, we played against the Toronto Raptors. Right. And at the time, you played for the Raptors. And I remember thinking we weren't going to get past the Raptors because Tyrone Hill owed you some money. All I know is, all I kept hearing was, you saw Tyrone Hill in the gym, and you was like throwing basketballs at his head. You was smacking him. I was hearing all kinds of stuff about you and Tyrone Hill. We needed Tyrone Hill to rebound, man. Like, what was going on with that? Well,
now, in this book, I just talk about that. No, I had lent him some money in Atlanta, and he says he's going to pay when the season started. So when the season's, you know, preseason, the season started, he came to the game, and one game he played sick, went back home. The next game, he didn't show up. So every time we played the Raptors in Philly, something came up, and he had an excuse not to, you know, play in the game. But in the playoff, he had to play. So, you know, we was in Philly. I was in the locker room. Someone had sent me some flowers, and I told his name off and put to Tyrone Hill from Charles Oakley. I gave the ball boy $100, go put it in his locker. So the story is crazy. In the book, I don't want to tell all of it, but yeah, it's real.
I read the story, and I won't spoil it for the audience, but It's crazy, man. But like, do you get why people thought you were a bully and not just like defending your teammates? Because it seemed like it went past the locker room. I mean, past the court.
No, bully is taking a guy lunch money or telling somebody they got to pay him so much money a week. So everything I went through was someone engaged with me for me to do it back to them. That's all. It's just conversation. And like I said, he asked me for the money. So I got a right to do what I have to do.
Wow, man, I would have liked to see a strongly worded letter. I would have liked to see, you know what I mean? You just went straight for the man's head. He was terrified, man. Did y'all ever get cool again?
No, we had another situation in Atlanta at a gym playing ball. We was killing really. A lot of Jamie and some of his people was there. And score like 9-2, he called ball. And like, ball, you can't win. So he walked up to me trying to take the ball. So I had to, tap him up a little bit. So he went and got the manager who was running the gym and came back out. So after he went back there, I said, let me get myself a lead because I don't even gonna go through this. But anyway, so they called the police. As I was leaving, I seen the police coming. So I leave and this and that. So about 2 o'clock the same night, I'm staying at the Ritz-Carlton in Buckhead. I get a knock on the door. Bam, boom. I got a warrant for your arrest. I'm like, what is this? And I thought about it. I said, no, he didn't. So they opened up the door and said, we got a warrant for the arrest. But I knew one of the cops. He said, just come in the morning. We'll book you and release you. So he put a warrant up for my arrest just for over a basketball game.
Wow, Tyrone Hill was ratting, man. I was mad enough that he couldn't shoot past 4 feet from the basket, but now I'm really mad knowing that he was a rat, man, allegedly. We're going to talk about that. Stay right here with me, Charles, because I want to talk to you about some other stuff. I want to talk about Michael Jordan. I want to talk about your grandfather, and I want to talk a little bit about why you are the last enforcer. Everybody stay right here. We got much more coming up with NBA legend and author Charles Oakley. Stay right here.
This program is brought to you by The 400-Year Holocaust, written by Dante King. Go to DanteKing.com to get your copy now.
Hi, I'm Dante King, author of The 400-Year Holocaust. I'm very excited to announce the release of my new book and let you know that it is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, iBook, Nook, Kobo, and Scribd. It's also available at my website, DanteKing.com. Please purchase your copy now.
Welcome back to Black News Tonight. We now continue with our conversation with former NBA player and current author, the legendary Charles Oakley. His book is called The Last Enforcer, Outrageous Stories from the Life and Times of one of the NBA's fiercest competitors. I'm telling y'all, it is really worth it. I read all the NBA books. Most of them stink, and that's why I don't have them on the show. But this one is great. It's a page turner, and you definitely want to read every word of it. The second to last chapter of the book is called Say His Name, where you speak about your connection to George Floyd. What made you want that in the book?
Well, I think it's a time in life that we got to, what happened to him was just over the top, tragic. For his way they just stood there and watched one guy put a knee on his head. How many seconds it was? He told him he can't breathe. No one tried to stop this man from doing this. And, just knowing Steven Jackson, coached him in Charlotte, coached him in the Big Three, and how he stepped up for the family, embraced, they were so tight. And what he's supposed to do is step up because he lost his brother, twin, he lose someone like that, and they were so close. But I think that happened, and people saw that from all different countries, and it brought people together. And I think enough is enough. A lot of people saying that. I went to a lot of the protesters. I went to the funeral. I went to Breonna Taylor in Louisville to protest. I was just trying to give energy to these families and be a part of the movement because we need more people stepping up and trying to make the change. And I think George, even though he's not here with us today, he made a change and things is getting better. We got to keep on. We can't let up. We got to keep on forcing issues. We need to get more people out talking about what's going on. I think just had another incident in Minnesota. It's something in the water in Minnesota because things keep happening. I don't know what's going on up there, but they really need to look into that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think more NBA players have to do exactly what you're doing. Not just NBA players. I think so many are speaking up, like LeBron and Chris Paul and Dwayne Wade and others.
Right.
But the more people that can speak out, the better it will be. I got to ask you a question: Is today's NBA soft?
It's different. It's it's not like the 80s, 90s, but they keep saying it's a different time, it's a different game. They shooting way more threes and missing way more free throws and turning the ball over so much. It's definitely different. And you look at the game by the guy's body, you don't see the physicality. Like, LeBron is, he's probably one of the bodies in the league, like the 80s and 90s body, muscles and but a lot of guys is just, tattoos and straight up and down now.
Does that frustrate you? I mean, when I watch a guy drive to the basket and barely get bumped, and they call in flagrants, and they replaying the tape for 5 minutes because somebody got knocked on their behind. To me, that ain't basketball. Does that frustrate you to watch the league look like this?
Yes, it do. But it's a different. It's all global now. It's about the money. I think back when we played back in the 80s and 90s, you might have had 2% European. Now you got 33%. So they got to protect their investment. So it's a global league. So they took all the physicality out the game, and it's just like YMCA, pick and roll, cut through, shoot threes. So we got to get used to it. It's the new norm now.
Yeah, man, I don't like the new norm. I like the old school. Speaking of old school, help solve this for me. And I know you address this in the book. Who is responsible for Isaiah Thomas not making it on to the Dream Team? And I'm asking you because MJ is accused of it, Michael Jordan's accused of it, and that's one of your best friends. So settle this for us, please.
It should have been settled. Isaiah himself, something he did to someone, they keep saying Michael Jordan didn't pick the team. He played on the team. I think Chuck Daly was most coaches who coach the Dream Team, any kind of special team like that, can always pick one of his own players. So if your own coach don't pick you, it's something. So he keep crying about it. It ain't gonna change. You didn't shake Michael Jordan's hand when they beat you. You try to hide behind Bill Laimbeer. I mean, you wasn't a class act guy, but he talk it, but he don't walk it. So you got to blame yourself. Magic didn't want you on the team. So he keeps saying Jordan. He probably mad because Jordan came to Chicago and took over his city. He won 6 championships, and he's from Chicago. So he can't claim Chicago along with Michael Jordan got a statue outside United Center.
I got to ask you one more question before I go, Charles. Scottie Pippen wrote a book where he did a lot of yapping. He did a lot of complaining. And and I ain't speaking for you, I'm speaking for myself. I thought the book was just, I lost respect for Scottie Pippen reading that book. I know you talked to Mike. How did Mike feel about that book?
Well, I didn't talk to Mike about the book, but we talked every night after The Last Dance. And he said the guys had a choice. They didn't have to do the interview. But I think Scottie felt left out, and he want to express his feeling in his book. I mean, my thing is, like I said, anything you said in this book or interviews, you got to live with it. I said a lot of stuff in my book, but hey, it's the truth. But I ain't trying to make no story up. I didn't go somewhere and write somebody else's story in the book. Like some people, when they get a recipe, they look in the book and try to put it in their book. No, this is one. Mine is all about engagement. No jealousy or none of that. So mine is like, if you talk to me and I ain't like you, you in the book. But Scottie, like I said, he got to live with it. I talked to Scottie, I talked to Mike, but I think it was more than The Last Dance. Could have been something when they was playing, because both of them got opinions. But it's hard to go at the GOAT when you're a top 25 scorer, So I talked to Scottie, so he got to live with it.
He got to live with it, and it sounds like he's gonna have to live without Michael Jordan in his life. Because I don't know Mike, but I know Mike ain't putting up with that kind of stuff. I'm assuming the relationship is dead. But Charles, I gotta run. But I just want to tell you this, man, because the world needs to understand this. You may not make the NBA Hall of Fame, but you are a basketball legend. You came from an HBCU. You paved the way for other Hall of Famers like Ben Wallace. You came a long way, man, from eating Polish boys in Cleveland to going down to Alabama. You were raised in tough circumstances, but you made the most of it. You stood 10 toes down with everybody. You held your team down. You took teams farther they needed to go. And you are one of those special players that we will always remember when we remember the golden era of NBA basketball, brother. I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for you, man. I hate the way the Knicks have treated you. I hate the way the league has responded to you. And I'm glad that you're finally getting some of your flowers right now, my brother.
Thank you. Appreciate for all that love, the conversation. But my thing is, hey, my grandfather, my family, big time family, my wife, my kids now. But my thing is just being consistent and not like, some people go with the flow. I mean, I don't switch up. I mean, I'm just staying in the right lane. They say if you drive slow, I'm going to drive slow and let people know it's me. But hey, it is what it is.
That's it. Everybody, make sure you check out the book. It's called The Last Enforcer. It is available everywhere that books are sold, but especially at Black-owned bookstores.